Дебилы, блядь. Так вот. Люди ебанутые. Как я. Ты, я, да, ты, что? Ну ты что, я, ну кто ты? Ага, а ты, а я, ты, я. Пожалуй, соглашусь. Кто? Ты, я, да, ты, что? Ну ты что, я, ну кто ты? Ага, а ты, а я, ты, я. Что это за хуйня? Хотя похуй, пока. 25. 25!
Нахуя?
Дебилы, блядь. 25. 25!
Нахуя?
Дебилы, блядь. 25. 25! 25! 25! 20, 20, 20, 25! Дебилы, блядь. Так вот.
Ask me if I give a fuck about it, this. Ask me if I give a fuck about it, yeah. Ask me if I give a fuck about fine, yeah. Recently I just don't give a fuck about a thing. I just decided about it, right? Said it got decided. That chick's so ready to be an alcohol for you to lie. Yeah, I'm sick of this zoning. All the moments and the key components. That limit and follow, I no problem. So birthday bonus.
Приходи, жду тебя, я тихо-тихо, там где обитают лисы, хорошо в норе не спится. Здесь бережно доходиться, чтобы сдать свои вещицы. Я взамен бы я хотела получить вот это тело. Сладкие миг, когда мысли разбегаются. Темной страсти я пылаю, от чего сама не знаю. Уши носы, глаза на десятках, я оставлю вкусно, вкусно, очень уж вкусно. Но ни капли не наелась, своего мне мало тела. Об одном раздумываю, кто же следующим будет. Но лучше я
That's true.
Want to play Fortnite?
Why?
Because I'm all out of money!
Wherever you're station, you need a team watching your back.
Oh my god, we're a team.
Duo powers up your cybersecurity by shielding against threats.
We finally got the parts for Big Red version 5, ladies and gentlemen, an NVIDIA RTX 4090 Founders Edition, and the new Intel 13 Gen i9 13900K. Now before I toss all these in Big Red version 5, let's do a quick build with them. So you just build a brand new shiny PC and you're greeted with this nasty notification on the bottom right corner of your screen. Well, instead of going out there and paying full price for a Windows key, you guys can actually get one for less than $15. That's right, you guys can get a Windows 10 Pro CD key for less than $15 by visiting yourcdkey.com or by clicking my link below and using my code TS20 for that extra 20% off. They also sell Windows 11 and Microsoft Office keys and the same discount code applies. Now once you get your CD key, all you have to do is go into the activation settings on Windows and put in the new key and watch the watermark disappear. Introducing Big Black, Big Red's brother from another mother. Bored. I realize the name sounds weird off context, but that is literally the best name I could think of for this build. Unless you guys can come up with a better name, let me know in the comment section. Oh man, I miss this case so much. I've always wanted to do a build in the black version of the Helios, and now my dreams are coming true, you guys. Oh, this brings back so many good memories. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So we'll be going with the new 13 Gen i9 13900K processor from Intel. It's got 8 more E-cores than the 12900K and a slightly higher boost clock of 5.8 gigahertz. Now the good thing about the 13 Gen processors is that they are backwards compatible with Intel's 600 series CPUs because they're using the same socket, LGA 1700. So I'll be sticking with my Z690 formula board for Big Red version 5. However, for this build, we are going with the ROG Maximus Z790 Hero. The main difference between these chipsets is that they added 8 more PCI 4 lanes and additional USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 ports. Oh, you also get support for slightly higher memory speeds, up to 5600 megahertz, which is 800 megahertz more than the Z690. So since Big Red version 5 has Dominator Platinums in white, it only makes sense to go with Dominator Platinums in black for the big black build. So I'm going with a 64 gigabyte kit running on 5200 megahertz. Now for storage, we're going with a 2 terabyte PCIe Gen 4 M.2 SSD for the main operating system, and we'll be tossing in an 8 terabyte Sabrent M.2 SSD for mass storage. So cooling the 13900K is the ROG Ryujin 2 360A RGB. Now the fans on here are RGB, so we're gonna be swapping them out with the XF120s instead because Big Black will be an anti-RGB build. The only lighting source I'm gonna allow inside the case are gonna be from the RAM sticks and possibly from the motherboard, but I wanna set those to white just so we can get some lighting in there, but everything else is gonna be basically zero RGB.
Mobile games are going big with Google Play Games. Battle it out with Free Fire.
All right, time to pop in the final piece, the RTX 4090 Founders Edition. Still can't get over the size of this thing. There we go. Hold on, I want to try something just for fun. I want to know if I can pop in a 3090 Ti in here. Is there even enough space? Hold up 1 second. Oh God, this is so stupid. I can't even see the PCI slot. I don't know where I'm sticking this in. Oh my God, dude. Oh, we got it. What the hell is this? Oh my God. So yeah, technically you can fit a 3090 Ti, but should you? I don't think so. I mean, they're not even the right size, so it looks so weird sitting underneath the 4090. Not to mention the top 4090 is gonna be starved from air. The airflow is gonna be so bad, and it's gonna overheat because the 3090 Ti is pretty much blocking the airflow. I wonder how the cable routing would look. We pretty much have no choice but to route the cables underneath the GPU, but I wouldn't even use this stock 16-pin cable. Look at this, guys. It looks so freaking messy. Even if you're going with a single GPU, that does not look good. Imagine 8 of these things sticking out from your card and going underneath. There's just too much cable clutter. I think the best route would be to use the included 16-pin cable from the power supply. This actually looks so much better. Oh yeah, this is the move. Even some custom cables will look much nicer with a dual GPU setup, without a doubt. But yeah, this is what a dual GPU configuration looks like. Unfortunately, NVLink is dead, so I'm not able to use the combined power of both graphics cards. I think the NVLink slot is actually, yeah, there's not even an NVLink slot over here on the 4090. There is one still for the 3090 Ti, so I guess technically you can do dual 3090 Ti's, which just sounds absurd. And not to mention, we don't even have the power. All right, just for scientific reasons and my entertainment purposes only, I want to keep the 3090 Ti in there and run some tests. I'm really curious to see how the 4090 is gonna perform with the 3090 Ti blocking its airflow. I'm gonna check out temps as well. And you know, it's just for fun. Obviously, I don't recommend doing this, guys. This is a really bad idea, but just for the sake of the video, I wanna try something different. Okay, this is officially atrocious. That is the ugliest thing I have done on the channel. What even is this? I don't know what NVIDIA was thinking when they thought this was a good idea. If I power the PC on and it doesn't explode, I'm honestly gonna be very proud of myself. So, here we go. If this PC doesn't blow up, I'll be really proud of myself. This is bringing back really bad memories. I'm honestly just losing my mind right now. I'm going insane. I'm going insane! Come on, give me something, baby. DisplayPort is plugged in. Come on. Something, anything, even by, yep, there we are. Let's go, baby. Oh, thank Lord. Okay. Let me hook up a keyboard and mouse. I'll be right back. All right, guys, here it is. Big Black finally completed. We did get to the Windows desktop screen, and I downloaded a few programs for us to test out. There are a few things that changed. Unfortunately, I had to swap out the RAM sticks because I found out they were both using 2 different timings. So I replaced both kits with a single 64GB kit running on 5200 megahertz, just so we don't run into any issues while we test the system. As I promised, there is no RGB inside the build. All the fans are non-RGB, and I set the lighting from the RAM sticks and the motherboard to white. And of course, you got the white GeForce logo from both the graphics cards. So this way there's a bit of light inside. It's not just pitch black, but also there isn't any like rainbow puke going on. So I do want to close the side panel and take a look at some temperatures real quick. We'll start off with the idle temps since the PC has been running for about 30 minutes or so. Okay, let's start off and look at some idle temps from the CPU and both the GPUs. I did load up CPU-Z first, but it looks like it's inaccurate. It's showing a core speed of 5.5 gigahertz on the 13900K. For some reason, it's not overclocked, so I'm not sure why it's showing that. Maybe it's just not updated to support the new 13th gen processors. It does read the 13900K up there, so that's interesting. Now, if we look at the actual core clocks on HW Info, we can see a more accurate reading. So 4.7 gigahertz on idle on the core clock, and then we got 4.6 on the ring. The only thing that's accurate on the CPU-Z is the memory reading. So we did enable XMP profile in the BIOS, and it's showing 2600 megahertz, which is correct. It is running on dual channel, so you're basically supposed to double that number, and it becomes 5200 megahertz, which is the same speed as the sticks that we have in the motherboard. So let's go back to HW Info and take a look at some temperatures. Starting with idle temps on the CPU, we're actually gonna look at the CPU package over here and the Core Max. This is gonna show us the hottest core on the 13900K. So it is idling around 42 degrees Celsius, it looks like, with peak temps of 56. I do wanna run a benchmark real quick and see how they actually do on full load. Okay, so we have reached peak temps, you guys. Starting with the graphics card, it looks like it maxed out at 82 degrees Celsius, but it pretty much flatlined closer to 81. I feel like it's at a constant 81 degrees, which is very toasty, I'm not gonna lie. Even for a Founders Edition card, that's pretty toasty. I'm pretty sure 3090 Ti has something to do with it. We will confirm that later, of course. Clock speeds, looks like we were getting 2685 megahertz on the boost clock for the 4090. Pretty freaking impressive. And then CPU temps, we were looking at 81 degrees peak, but it fluctuates between 60 and 75 degrees. So nothing too crazy, but also nothing impressive. The ROG 360mm AIO did a pretty good job keeping the 13900K temps down. Here's what the PC sounds like, by the way, on full load. I'm literally standing right behind where the exhaust is. So yeah, not 100% silent, but fairly silent considering, you know, we got 2 massive GPUs in there and a 13900K. I do want to test the 4090 now by itself So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the 3090 Ti and then do the same exact test and compare temps. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Looks like the numbers have stabilized. We can now compare temperatures. I was off, you guys. I was off by a landslide. I said about 5 degrees cooler, if I remember correctly, but looks like the 4090 peaked at 63 degrees Celsius and it's staying really close to 61, 62. So that's about 17 degrees cooler without the 3090 Ti underneath it. I don't know what I was smoking on when I said 5 degrees, which now makes sense. Obviously, you have a massive card underneath it restricting airflow. So this pretty much reinforces my original statement. It's a bad idea. Don't put 2 cards in your system, guys. It's not ideal. These cards are getting way too big. They're getting way too thick. 2 cards in your system is pretty much becoming obsolete. They've already killed off NVLink, so if you must put in 2 cards and you're gonna take advantage of each of them independently, go the water cooling route. Throw a block on there, it'll shrink the size and they each get their own cooling. That's like the only possible solution I could think of. If you're gonna put in 2 cards with the same exact size of a 4090 Founders Edition or even a 3090, you're crazy, all right? You're crazy. I don't care how big your case is. This is a pretty massive case, and we're still having airflow issues with putting another card underneath there. So, yeah, not a good idea. But Ed, what about AIB partners? What about other manufacturer graphics cards? They have a better, cooler design. I don't think there's gonna be a huge difference, you guys. If you're putting another card literally right underneath the top slot, you're gonna
If you're new to the Compensator series, the rules are simple. Number 1, no exotic enterprise build-to-order hardware, and, with rule number 1 in mind, you buy the most expensive possible thing in every category, which is how we ended up with, I kid you not, 11 8TB SSDs. Believe it or not though, the storage is far from the most wild thing about this year's build. Nope, that award goes to this.
That is me being handcuffed to RL and then throwing the only key away. And that is still me running away from a safe that is about to blow up. Now the reason I'm doing all that is because I don't trust locks anymore. Mainly after finding out it takes seconds to pick them, and also after seeing this guy opening a lock with a match. Well, maybe the problem is that I've always used cheap locks. But what happens when you get to the expensive ones? Do they actually get less useless? My plan to find out was to test 6 different locks, putting a lot of valuable stuff on the line, and myself, all to find out if there is at least one lock that it's actually worth having. Lock number 1 is a $10 lock from Amazon. And I mean, it's not a bad lock. It got a bunch of great reviews, but still, it's the cheapest one on the list. And well, my plan to test this lock was to chain my laptop, so there was no way to get it, and then secure the chain with the lock. And since I need this laptop for basically everything I do, keeping the keys was a safety net in case I messed up and I couldn't open the lock anymore. But I thought about that later. The good news is that now I had to be 100% committed to opening the lock to get my laptop back. And if the lock could survive that, it means it's actually a good one. Right now, I had 2 options. Picking the lock normally, as I did with many others in the past, or trying the sketchiest method I found on YouTube, which is probably fake, and it could totally mess up the lock mechanism, making it impossible to then pick the lock. So I bought a bunch of matches. The plan was to extract the reactive chemicals out of the match heads, and then crush them into powder. Basically making a bomb. Next, I started pouring all the powder into the lock mechanism, and I kept repeating the same process until the mechanism was filled. Now, by following the sketchy videos, I definitely shouldn't trust. By catching fire, the powder should magically open the lock. If this doesn't work and my laptop explodes, this video's gonna end. Alright, I was actually a little scared at this point, because if you think about this rationally, which I didn't, this thing could definitely blow up. So I checked the lock to see if the magic actually happened, and well, it didn't. Then I went into panic mode. I kept trying over and over, like I tried a bunch of times and it didn't work a single one. Moreover, I couldn't pick the lock anymore, since the lock mechanism was probably broken, and so my laptop was officially trapped. So at this point I was considering investing in a circular saw. But Luckily, then I realized there was another method I could try, the double wrench method. This time, I also got a reliable source. Lockpicking Lawyer is a legend among locksmiths and people locked out of their houses. So if he says this method works, I definitely trust him. Also, the technique is pretty easy. You buy some wrenches, you insert the wrenches into the shackle, and then you push as hard as you can, hoping to break the shackle of the lock. And even though I work out and stuff, at the first attempt the wrenches didn't do anything to the lock, but they hurt me instead.
God, this is so painful. What?
But then I realized that something actually happened. I cut out a perfect circle from the lock. But then I tried again while standing up, and most importantly, using safety glasses. And this time...
Yes! Oh, no way! No way I broke it!
And after pushing a bit more...
Come on! Come on! Yes!
The lock was broken and my laptop was free.
Yes!
The second lock is around $20 and it's a key safe. You know, the same ones they use in thousands of Airbnbs on the planet. So learning to crack this would allow me to spend nights in a bunch of fancy places for free. Joking, I would never do that. But I like to keep the option. Moreover, since I set high stakes for the first lock, I felt I had to keep it consistent.
How did everyone suddenly get so good at writing? WordTune. It's your...
And so this time, I put the keys of my apartment on the line. Then I set up a random combination, locked the safe, and turned the dials so that my keys were stuck inside. At this point, there was no coming back. And the only method I knew that could open this safe, I got it from another sketchy YouTube video. So, yeah. The key safe has a combination lock mechanism, but unlike a normal combination lock in which you simply pull the shackle and test different combinations, in this one I got nothing to pull. Luckily, the only thing I need to open the key safe is actually just paper. Let me explain. Imagine the mechanism of each of these wheels having this sort of shape. It's not a full circle, but there is a flat part on it. And when all the wheels are aligned in this flat part, the key safe opens. And now that you know that, I can explain the paper thing. If we place this piece of paper in here and turn the wheels, the piece of paper should always stay at the same level. But when we arrive at the flat part of the mechanism, the paper should drop a little bit. And that's how we know that that is the right number. So I placed a piece of paper next to the wheel, and then I started turning it, testing different numbers. I didn't feel anything for the first few numbers, but then... Oh, I felt it. I felt it, that's crazy. It's kinda hard to see, but I clearly felt the paper dropping on the number 2. And then I simply repeated the process for the rest of the wheels. 3, 2. Now, 2852 sets the flat part of the wheels on top. But to open the safe, we gotta move the flat part to the bottom. And after a series of calculations, I realized that to do that, we need to add 5 to each number we found. Basically, 2 becomes 7, 8 becomes 3, 5 becomes 0, and 2 becomes 7. Alright. This is either gonna work or I had to tell my girlfriend that we willingly locked ourselves out of the house.
Yes! Yes!
And no way that actually worked. That was nothing though, because for the next lock, I wouldn't lock something away, but someone. The extremely important person, to me, that I'm locking away is myself. These are the keys of the handcuffs, and now those were the keys of the handcuffs. I'm gonna pick them up later, hopefully. The only thing I have with me is a paperclip. Now the reason I decided to use a paperclip is because of how handcuffs work. So when you lock the handcuffs, the red mechanism you see there holds the handcuffs and doesn't allow them to open. So the theory is that if you insert a paperclip into the keyhole, you could lift the red mechanism and let the handcuffs open. Of course, when I started trying, I immediately realized this wasn't gonna be as easy as I was expecting. First of all, it was hard to insert the paperclip into the hole. And then the weird position I was in, well, it wasn't helping. I kept trying for 10 minutes and then I broke the first paperclip. This one is gone. So I only have 3 paper clips with me right now. I'm not sure why, to be honest. I thought 3 were more than enough. So I started trying with the second one.
I'm feeling the mechanism.
I feel it's there.
I just gotta be firm enough to push it down.
The main problem is that I didn't know the 100 paper clips I bought from the Chinese store at 99 cents were gonna be that weak. But after a few minutes, I was bending even the second one. You know, I don't think I'm a fan of warm weather while being handcuffed to RL. But then, something nice happened for the first time.
Oh, I felt a movement inside there. Come on, I think I'm close.
And indeed, I was.
Oh yes.
Every single time you hear the click, it means I'm touching the mechanism
and then I'm losing it.
To pull the mechanism down, I had to somehow get a better grip, and I tried to achieve so by bending the thing at a 90-degree angle, using my powerful tongue. And I didn't mean to do any sexual joke there. Anyways, I didn't know if it was working, but after another 10 minutes, this happened.
Yes! 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 Oh my god! Yes! Yes! Oh my god! I was sweating so much, I was losing hope.
And after removing the second handcuff, I was ready to move to the big guys, like literally in terms of price and size. Lock number 4 costs $150, and it's a biometric padlock, which basically means it has no keys. You can either open it by inserting a combination or using your fingerprint. And I expected this one to be the best lock ever. First, because it's expensive, and expensive things are always the best ones. Kinda like this guinea pig armor that sold for $24,000 that is much more durable than the one I built for mine. But the main reason I thought this lock could be a good one is because it can't be cracked, it can't be picked, and there is no paper trick to go around it. But I knew I had one chance, besides this circular saw. My plan was to try the double wrench method once again, but this time using way bigger wrenches. So I tried pushing as hard as I could, so hard that even my hair was struggling, but I couldn't do it. And I maybe also knew why. The double wrench method applies force to a pretty strong part of the lock, and in reality, the right way to do it would be to do it vertically, like this. This way, we would apply force to the weakest part of the shackle, and the chances of breaking it get exponentially higher. The only problem? My wrenches were too small. So I tried a few alternative methods to fill the gap inside the shackle, but obviously nothing worked.
Nope.
So I bought bigger wrenches. This was the normal one, this was the big one, and this is the new one.
Blocked from accessing your mission-critical systems?
Not again!
Frustrate attackers.
Unfortunately, even the new wrenches were not enough to fill the space in the shackle. But what happens now if I place the 3 previous keys on the bottom? And there, I realized this could actually work. Now honestly, this hasn't been easy at all. I was expecting the shackle to blow up, but it never happened. The shackle kept slowly lifting at each attempt, and I kept adding wrenches to fill the space. And when I arrived at 6 wrenches, I finally got it open. Yes! Open! I'm a fan of this thing though, it's been a struggle to break it. Before moving to the explosive stuff, I wanted to test the $350 lock. They actually marketed it as the world's strongest padlock, and well, I don't think they're lying. It is insanely big, especially if you compare it to this tiny lock I bought just to make it look like it. It's actually really heavy though, just above 2 kilograms, or a Desert Eagle in American units. Anyways, I tried to open it with the double wrench method, and it did absolutely nothing to it. But then I noticed that despite the appearance, this thing actually has a normal lock mechanism. So I maybe had a chance of opening this lock by picking it. I learned to do that 3 years ago, and it's actually really easy. Basically, padlocks have a bunch of pins inside, and because they're all a different length, they stop the lock cylinder from turning. The key basically aligns all the pins, allowing the lock to open. So the goal of lockpicking is to align those pins using these tools instead of the keys. You use the pick to push the pins up, and the torque wrench to rotate the shackle so that the pins don't fall back down. So I started digging around inside the lock, but it seemed like 3 years of not trying to steal anyone's stuff meant I'd lost my skills. Wise choice for me to not chain myself at a pole for this one. Then I heard a few pins clicking, which means I was doing something right. And when I thought I was finally making progress, this happened. So I basically just tried a different picking tool. And it doesn't come out anymore. And even though after a while I got it out, I started doubting my lock picking skills. So I tried with 2 normal locks to see if I could open at least those, and I actually did it pretty easily. So I guess the big lock was the problem, or the solution, depending on which side you play for. To convince this lock to open, I then tried an unconventional method, and it didn't work. But then, as you can clearly see here, something unexpected and extremely important happened. Sorry boys, I had to abandon the challenge. Props to the big lock though. Even lockpicking lawyers struggled a tiny bit to get it open, so it's definitely a good one. The last lock is a safe. It was supposed to be $500, but I blew the budget for this video with the previous lock, so it's still a really good safe though. It has this kind of keys, and I have no idea how to pick that. So the only possible solution was firepower. My plan was to start with 1 firecracker and then keep adding more till I got the safe open. Obviously my main concern was not blowing up with the safe, but no worries, I had it all figured out. So I got plenty of time, like 30 seconds, after I light up the firecracker, and I'm gonna hide
behind that wall. Right there.
And in addition to that, I also had protective goggles. They are protective goggles, right? So I lit up the first one and ran as fast as I could. The explosion was super loud, but even though there was some damage to the safe, it was for sure not enough to open it. So then I tried with 3 firecrackers. And just so you know, I'm on private land, so I can safely do this. Just not sure who's the owner, but... This time it did a little more, but it still wasn't enough. So you can probably guess what I wanted to do next. 5 firecrackers. They were kinda starting to look like a stack of dynamite, to be fair. And the sound was always terrifying. Like, I'm shocked every single time. But this time, even the damage was pretty good. It completely turned the safe. I think it's getting open, guys. Now, I could see the bots, and I was confident that the next hit was gonna do it. So now, I wanted to try with 6 firecrackers. Please don't try this at home, guys, because we have all the safety precautions. Like wearing Amazon goggles and running away as fast as possible. Anyways, I lit the firecrackers one more time, and I was scared the police would come, so I really hoped this was the last one. Oh yeah, I destroyed it. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's completely gone. So yeah, after 14 firecrackers, the safe was defeated. Now, I'm not sure a thief would actually use this method, but if you are one, let me know in the comments. Jokes aside, the conclusion to all this is that I keep the big padlock. And if you don't want to spend that much on a lock, maybe the solution is just to trust people a bit more. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and watch another one.
Huh. Okay. You look glitzy, glammy. Super snazzy. A real saucy boy.